Branson, Missouri early last month, and I spoke at the Determined Patriot Conference that was hosted by Doug Billings from the Right Side Show. And I'm also going to be a speaker at the Patriot Double Down Patriot Conference in Las Vegas the third week of October. So I have a presentation that I do, and I want to share half of it, because actually it's a 30-minute presentation, but I'm going to try to do it in under 15 minutes. I think I can do it in 10, okay? And so this presentation is the tail end of the stages that a country goes through from being very prosperous to decline. And socialism is the culprit. So it's actually a lot of the studying that I did from William Federer when he was here, and he did a presentation on the history of socialism from Plato to present. So it's, some of the information comes from his books. But one book in particular, it's called The Secular Reasons Why This Country Was Founded on Judeo-Christian Values. And then another author that I follow that I really adore and I really love is Chris Ann Hall, who is a foremost expert on early American history, the early foundation of our Constitution, and all the founding documents and the true meaning that they don't teach in our school system, okay? So this is just a very quick presentation of the tail end of that. So you've gone through all the different stages of a decline, and back in 1934, there was an Oxford anthropologist. His name was J.D. Unwin, and he published a book that said sex and culture. It confirmed the trend of Plato, saying when you have a very promiscuous society, it always leads to the decline of a civilization. So after studying 86 different tribes and civilizations over 5,000 years, including Sumerians, Babylonians, Greeks, Romans, Teutons, Anglo-Saxons, he found that sexual promiscuity always preceded the decline of a civilization. But here's the part that really surprised me. He also uncovered with 100% correlation that a monogamous heterosexual marriage led to cultural advancement. Okay? When you have a family unit, from there you can build a community. From the community, you can delegate powers to a government, so a government can negotiate on your behalf, and so on and so on. And what happened in the decline of our civilization? The first thing they did was attack the family unit. They've destroyed the masculinity of our men. And you've heard me say this in other meetings. Our men need to be the alpha males that God has asked you to become, and be the role models in our community. Be leaders in your household. Be leaders in government. You all need to take your rightful place. And I say that at every meeting for a reason, because you never hear a woman say that. But I'm here to defend you guys, okay? So I want you to understand this. Now, our founding fathers knew this. Our founding fathers were godly men. I studied my ancestors, okay? Benjamin Franklin's father, Josiah Franklin, fled England because of religious persecution. All the men that had a hand in our founding documents were Christian men or Jewish men. Judeo-Christian values. And here's the evidence. Can a Christian be a socialist? If you think about it, socialism contradicts Jesus. Jesus taught in the parable of talents that a person that has one talent and didn't do anything with it should have it taken away. Jesus didn't say, take from the person that has 10 talents and distribute them equally among others. It's even in the Bible. Socialism contradicts our biblical foundation. Now, the next slide is where I share our founding fathers were godly men. Here's the proof. Next slide. George Washington wrote in his draft notes in his inaugural address of April 1789. The best institution may be abused by human depravity, and that they may even in some instances be made subservient to the vilest purposes. Should those incited by the lust of power overleap the known barriers of this Constitution and violate the unalienable rights of humanity, it will only serve to show that no compact among men, none, however provident in its construction and sacred in its ratification, can be pronounced everlasting. That no wall of words, that no mound of parchment can be so formed and to stand against the sweeping torrent of boundless ambition on one side, aided by the sapping current of a corrupted morals on the other. And that's kind of like an inclination of what we're going through right now in our government. Their lust for power has taken over all sensibility and reasoning. Next slide. Alexander Hamilton. In 1775, the sacred right of mankind are written by the hand of the divinity itself and can never be erased or obscured by moral power. Next slide. President Dwight Eisenhower. The founding fathers had to refer to the Creator in order to make their revolutionary experiment make sense. Next slide. President John F. Kennedy in the 1961 inaugural address, the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but come from the hand of God.
Amen.
Slide. President John Adams, October 11, 1798, letter to the 3rd Division of the Militia of Massachusetts. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other.
That's right.
It's only going to work if we're a moral society. Outside of that, it won't work.
And godly men need to be ruled.
John Quincy Adams, September 1811, in a letter to his son, in order that you may go through life with usefulness to your fellow creatures, you should adopt certain rules for the government of your own conduct. It is in the Bible. You must learn them. President Harry S. Truman, February 15, 1950, at the Attorney General's Conference. If we don't have a proper fundamental moral background, we will finally end up in a totalitarian government which does not believe in the rights for anybody except the state. Look at the Declaration of Independence. And if you know these words, say it with me. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. They work for us.
Right.
We don't work for them.
That's right.
That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it's the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Amen.
Second Amendment.
And what is our preamble? That was the preamble of the Constitution, but what does our Florida preamble say? Do you know how many preambles throughout the country, different states, have a reference to the Creator? What does Florida say? We, the people of the state of Florida, grateful to Almighty God for our constitutional liberty, established this Constitution.
Amen.
So that's your evidence. When people say that we're not founded on Judeo-Christian values, that is the narrative of the left that they want you to believe. We were founded on Judeo-Christian values, and that is the only way that our government will work and thrive and survive.
That's right.
radicals want to change our constitution, besides the fact that they want to take control over this country because it is the most powerful in the world, it actually goes back to our geography. Our geography is we are strategically located in the world to give us that competitive advantage. Throughout history, countries that flourish were always surrounded by a body of water. Look at the Roman Empire. Look at all of Europe. Where are we? We have the Atlantic Ocean, we have the Pacific Ocean. We can trade with Canada, we can trade with Mexico, we can trade with all of the Caribbean. Strategically, we will always have that competitive advantage. So we will always be a target. We always will be, okay? Freedom isn't free. General Flynn said, don't freeload your freedom off the backs of those who are willing to fight for it. We all need to fight for our freedom, just like our founding fathers did for us. Okay? And so how do we take back our freedom that's slowly but surely being robbed from us? The precinct strategy. What Stephen Stern and Chris Marino came in. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. He's a committee man on a mission back there. We need to get involved. We need to back our candidates. I hope to do more events like this because we need to showcase and get behind candidates early on. There are milestones that candidates need to reach before they're considered a credible candidate. If you're running for state house representative, the moment you raise $25,000, then people pay attention to you. When you get to the 100K mark, as far as fundraising goes, all of a sudden you may get local attention in your newspapers, okay? And if you can get to the point where you're $500,000 like Chip LaMarca, you're running TV commercials so much that when they get to the poll, they know exactly who to vote for. On a congressional race for the U.S. House, my mile marker is 100,000. When I get to the 100,000 mark, then I'm a viable candidate. When I get to 250,000, all of a sudden people are paying attention. If I get to the million mark, I'll have national attention. So why do we have to raise money? Guess what? Campaigns cost money. It costs money to produce a video, to run commercials, to buy lawn signs, to pay for strategists and consultants that actually can help and guide you. And by the way, I failed to mention, Robert Kiger is here. He's our campaign treasurer. So it is very difficult to find an honorable treasurer who will be amazing as far as keeping confidence and keeping privacy with your campaign. He is available to take more candidates. That's why I invited him here. I wanted him to meet everyone here, okay? We have Mark McMackey, who's on my campaign, and he's the director of volunteers and outreach. And then I have Minerva here, who's gonna be working on our campaign. So I'm really excited. We are having momentum. The last 3 weeks, we raised $11,000, of which $1,100 is monthly recurring donations, okay? I was on the Ann Vandersteel show yesterday. That went amazing. It's going viral. So slowly but surely we are making traction. So thank you, everyone. I need everyone to sign my candidate petition if you haven't already. I need donations, and that concludes my presentation. And now I'm going to put my hat on as chairwoman and do a couple last announcements on the agenda. All right. Okay, so Road to Liberty Conference, Michael mentioned this. I want to elaborate on it. South Florida does not do full-day conferences, Republican conservative stuff. They just don't do it. I've never seen it, and I'm here 28 years. We put together the most amazing lineup of world-renowned authors and speakers that are going to be here on Saturday, September 18th at the Signature Grand. These are amazing. This could be a life-changing, inspirational event. Everyone here, I want you here, but I also want you to do me a favor. We have flyers on the table and I have extra palm cards. I need you to go and tell your friends, your family, and invite 5 or 6 people to come with you, and we will have a successful event. Would you all do this for me? Because if we host an event and it's not successful, it will make South Florida look bad. Okay? So I need your help to make this event successful. Besides the fact we have speakers coming in from all over the country to come and share their knowledge and experience with you. Who are the speakers? William Federer, one of the authors that I got a lot of my information from. Darren Go, who is with Restore Liberty. Pastor Greg Locke, doesn't need an introduction. Bill Mitchell's been in conservative news for over 30 years. Dr. Jane Ruby, she's a medical doctor and virologist, and she's going to dispel the narrative of the fake COVID narrative that we've all been under. Kirk Warlock, he is a cyber forensic expert on election integrity. Sue Trombino, who's been basically going all over the country telling every single pastor that the reason why our country is where it is today is because they took a back seat and not helping candidates, our Christian candidates, get elected. Jennifer Pippin from Moms for Liberty. Michael Sapka, who's the director of John Birch Society. Kathy Chamberlain, author of Rules for Deplorables. And Massey Campos, who is a pastor and owner of Self-Evident Truth, a company that actually promotes information on how to preserve our Constitution and liberty. So I wanted to share that with you. South Florida First, Michael already gave an update on that. Telegram is growing leaps and bounds. I think we're over 200 members now. And remember, just like a month ago, we were at like 70. So we keep growing. And then the upcoming Candidate Training and Leadership Institute in West Palm Beach is actually this Friday from 2 to 9 and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the next 2 weekends. So if you're interested, I believe they still have some seats. And that concludes our presentation. And now, does anybody have any new business or new news that they need to announce to this group while we're here?
Can we get people to sign your candidate petition and then also the demand letter?
Yes, I apologize. I didn't even share that with you. Okay, so Anna DeCenzi has led the charge to fight Broward County School Board, and we created a demand letter where they are literally going against all the executive orders, not all of them, but some of the executive orders and legislation that was just signed by our governor, okay? It talks about the mask mandates, it talks about the proclamation of against girls in sports that they all signed. It talks about, it's okay. It talks about how hard it is to find the religious exemption form for vaccines. So there's a few things in this demand letter. If you want to participate, you can sign the letter, and we're happy to make the copies for you and put it in the mail for you. And so the copies are being mailed to a copy to the governor, all the House of Representatives. Okay, so the letter that she's got copies of, all you have to do is date it. The delivery method is going to be mail, and then your full name and address, and then you have to sign the back page. And so the demand letter is being mailed to also all the senators. It's being mailed to the Attorney General, Ashley Moody, and it's also being mailed to the Broward County Sheriff, Tony. Okay, so that's where the letter is going. We already have a lot of letters already prepared, and so if everybody could take the time to participate in this, we'd really appreciate it. And again, please don't leave without signing candidate petition forms for the candidates and introducing yourself and adopting a candidate before you leave. Thank you everyone for coming. I appreciate your time.